My name is Bridget Borg, and I'm a biological technician with Denali National Park and Preserve. I've been working here in the park for several years. Recently, I started a project as my master's thesis looking at wolf viewing and its relationship to wolf harvest outside of the park. So there's a 92-mile-long road that travels into the park, and it's how most visitors access the park. And there are a lot of viewing opportunities along that road because the road cuts through some pretty prime wildlife habitat and wolf habitat as well. This year there was a pack called the Nenana River Pack that was denning not far from the park road. And so we had some camera traps, which are remote cameras. You can just set them up. They have their own battery source, and you can just attach them to a tree or a post, and they're triggered by motion, and they take anywhere from 3 to perhaps 5 pictures each time they're triggered, usually from wildlife. So we had some cameras, and we were interested in setting them up and seeing if wolves were crossing the road frequently there, and if they were, if we could capture any kind of behavioral patterns and their use of the road. In terms of logistics, we set up a number of cameras and we're kind of playing around with it, trying to capture these road crossing events, and we weren't having much luck. So we started scouting around and looking for other areas, and we noticed this well-worn path not far from the road, and so we set up a camera there and attempt to see if that area was being used at all by wolves. What we saw was pretty interesting, that it's not only used by wolves but also by moose, lynx, you see grizzly bears as well, snowshoe hare, of course, and so there's a variety of animals that are using this trail. Denali National Park and Preserve is one of the best places in the world to see a lot of wildlife species, in particular wild wolves, and seeing wild wolves is a particularly uncommon occurrence, and so the opportunity to view wild wolves in their natural habitat is something that's pretty unique here in Denali and something that is important to try to understand and protect. What the images reflect is the diversity of wildlife here and the fact that there is great habitat and that there is overlap of all these species in the same area, and oftentimes there's time lapse between when these animals are using the same area, but it is, I think, a good reflection of the great wildlife here in Denali.